New details in a fatal Asheville hit and run. I'm Justin Hinton. Coming up, the break in the case that led investigators to this neighborhood just behind McCormick Field.
Hopefully make it smaller, make it possibly stop it.
2 housing developments proposed for Waynesville to meet a growing demand. But residents say, not in my backyard, how they're fighting to stop them.
And come thirsty and come hungry, the Asheville Food Truck and Beer Festival rolls back into the mountains. The options you can expect to see from around the world.
Now, from Western North Carolina's news leader, this is News 13 at 5:30.
Tonight we're learning new details about the fatal hit and run that placed an Asheville man in jail.
Maxwell Theophrastus is accused of hitting and killing Bradley Barnes. News 13's Justin Hinton joins us now live. And Justin, it was some good police work that actually led investigators to the suspect.
Yeah, that's right. Officers tell me that hit and run cases can be some of the hardest to investigate, especially when there's little evidence left behind. But there was one little piece provided the backdrop for making an arrest.
Just really good police work and a little bit of luck.
A winning combination for Asheville police officers trying to figure out who hit and killed Bradley Barnes and then took off. Family members saying he'd only been in Asheville a few months looking for a job. But what that driver left behind at the intersection of Mack Street and South Charlotte would be enough to get officers moving in the right direction.
Debris, broken debris off of a car.
More specifically from the warrant, a fog lamp trim piece with a part number. A quick search on Google told Sergeant Scott Pruitt they were looking for a 2003 to 2007 Toyota Highlander, potentially blue in color.
We did a search through the DMV of all the Toyota Highlanders in the region. Found about 543.
A little more digging found 88 in Buncombe County. One of those registered to an address less than half a mile from the crash site on Buchanan Avenue, which sits just above McCormick Field.
Just on a whim, Officer Pigman got in her car, drove over to that address, and located our suspect car sitting on the side of the road.
Issuing warrants, seizing the SUV, and finding the owner, identified as Maxwell Theophrastus, came next.
He was very cooperative initially, remained cooperative, and then after, I wouldn't call it a long interview at all by any stretch, but you could tell that something was weighing on him and he wanted to get it off his shoulders, and he did.
Theophrastus eventually confessing.
I can't brag on these guys enough. I mean, they were very diligent in sticking with this case, like they are with all their cases.
I just checked, Theophrastus is still in jail tonight on an $85,000 bond. As far as Barnes goes, his funeral is scheduled for October 7th. Reporting live in Asheville, Justin Hinton, News 13.
Warrants reveal new information in the investigation into a deadly shooting in Asheville. Brandy Angel was shot and killed last month inside a car near the Bartlett Street Apartments. A man with her was also shot but survived. The search warrant states Angel and her laptop, and she had her laptop with her. It was open and powered on. She was an aspiring rap star, and the warrant says it's possible she was making a recording when the shooting happened, and that the laptop may have captured some video or audio of the shooting. No arrests have been made in that case.
Heading to the Capitol, a group of New York protesters is traveling to Washington, D.C. to join in the Cancel Kavanaugh protests. This is a shot of those protesters from earlier this afternoon. You can see them marching to the federal courthouse with signs like Kavanaugh or Women Must Be Heard. As lawmakers review the FBI documents, a potential vote on Brett Kavanaugh is the next Supreme Court justice could be as early as tomorrow. All eyes are now on key senators who could act as swing votes in the GOP. The report contains summaries from interviews and witnesses regarding Kavanaugh's alleged sexual misconduct decades ago. But Judge Kavanaugh and his first accuser, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, were not interviewed. Lawmakers are split down party lines, with some Democrats calling it incomplete and Republicans pushing for a vote.
It looks to be a product of an incomplete investigation that was limited, perhaps by the White House, I don't know. But the White House certainly blocked access to millions of documents from Judge Kavanaugh's record. I know that.
The senators who requested the supplemental FBI background check got what they requested, and I am ready to vote. The Senate vote on Kavanaugh could happen as early as this weekend.
North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein announces the launch of a new statewide sexual assault kit. The new kits are marked with a tracking barcode. That barcode allows law enforcement, attorneys, and victims to know the status of their kit. The State Crime Lab also received a $2 million grant to test any untested kits that police could still have.
And now your on-time traffic report, sponsored by Lexus of Kingsport.
Hey, so good news is most of those accidents have been cleared up out there, but we are still seeing some areas of delays, primarily out on those secondary roadways. So let's turn to our maps. Biltmore Avenue up to Merriman Avenue is an area with heavy traffic delays. Slowest on those northbound lanes approaching that I-240 ramp. Speeds are down to 11 miles per hour. Now, there is an accident out on I-240 westbound right before the Merriman Avenue exit, but we're not seeing any major traffic delays or congestion out on the entire stretch of I-240. Now, traffic out on I-40 heading westbound is slow from the Patton Avenue exit over to Wiggins Road. Speeds are at 40 miles per hour, and also out on Patton Avenue in both directions you got slow travel times and travel speeds. You're down to 17 miles per hour. So let's turn to a live look at I-26 at Biltmore Park using our Lester Flooring Skycam. Earlier we saw this exactly, heavy delays out in both directions, and this is what you can expect near I-26 at Long Shoals Road. That's look at traffic. Frank, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Adriana. And Waynesville's growing, and town leaders looking for ways to accommodate this increase in population.
2 proposed housing projects are on the books, but each one is facing legal challenges from residents.
News 13's Rex Hodge is live along Plot Creek Road, and Rex, residents say this is going to change the character there.
Yes, there's an apartment complex proposed for here along Plot Creek, also a duplex proposed for the other side of town. Residents I spoke to say they understand the need for growth, but they say not in their neighborhood, and they're taking legal action.
Come here, Miracle.
From the get-go, many residents have voiced opposition
I just don't agree with it.
to a proposed 200-unit apartment complex along Plot Creek, saying it doesn't fit in the rural community and will hurt property values.
What are your concerns about it?
Traffic, I like widening the roads possibility.
Planner Elizabeth Teague says there's not enough affordable housing for a town over 10,000 population and growing.
If you were to go on Zillow, there are 5 rental units available.
The town board made a zoning adjustment earlier this year, allowing the Palisades at Plot Creek apartment complex. A civil suit filed on behalf of residents designed to stop the development claims the town gave too much deference to the developer over residents' desires. It also says proper wording was not included in the board's motion for the zoning change. That wording to be changed at an October 15th public hearing.
We're trying to be fair to everyone, to go through our process and do everything legally as best we can.
Another developer wants to put in a 46-unit duplex off Allens Creek.
That's a lot of neighbors for a little road.
But neighbors are voicing concerns in their legal case.
You know, it infringes with our right-of-way. I'm not even sure if they've applied for a entrance with the DOT.
Charlie Deaver says there are floodplain issues, and he says residents haven't had enough time to look at maps.
Hopefully make it smaller, make it possibly stop it.
Teague says while the concept has a contingent nod from planners, until the developer addresses these items, the project is on hold.
There won't be any building permits out there until those things are addressed.
And a public hearing is set for October 15th before the planning board. It will address the wording in the Plot Creek zoning change. The same issue will then go before the town board of aldermen, a public hearing slated there for November the 13th. Reporting live tonight from Waynesville, Rex Hodge, News 13.
Coming up, renovations are moving forward for one local high school, the 2-step plan, and how the principal thinks it'll help the students.
And what happens when you put robots and farming together? Coming up, the new innovative way to solve the farm labor crisis.
And taking a look outside across the area, we certainly have more sunshine than clouds. Same thing over Asheville on the Lester Flooring Skycam network. In downtown, it's a little breezy. That breeze helped a little bit today because it was so warm. Your evening planner is going to keep us in the 70s for several more hours and then eventually down to the 60s by 11. Mild and dry, but that's going to change a little bit into the weekend. I'll show you why.
Making college accessible to more people. That was the message from UNC System President Margaret Spellings today as she visited the North Carolina Arboretum. The Arboretum played host to the My Future NC Commission meeting. The purpose was to set and review new goals for helping people attain higher education for the future of the state. Spellings helped launch the We Promise campaign at 3 UNC school systems, including Western Carolina. The program there started this September.
Enrollment is up very significantly at each of those institutions, and we are confident that when more people know about it, even more takers will show up for that great deal of $500 per semester tuition.
The We Promise campaign also provides UNC system students a fixed rate of tuition as long as they stay continuously enrolled.
A renovation project for a 90-year-old high school in Buncombe County is moving forward. The new construction and upgrades at Community High School are happening in 2 phases, costing about $12 million. The first phase of the project is expected to be finished in early January. The second phase will take another year. The principal says the adults aren't the only ones excited.
They're getting more and more excited as they see the new building go up. And I think the biggest effect that it's going to have on our kids, it's going to be strengthening and deepening their pride.
Community High School in Buncombe County is an alternative school that has 150 students.
Well, you're not used to saying it this time of year, but it was actually hot.
It was hot, and I guess if you're out there doing construction, it's good that it's not snow.
You got to look at something
cold.
Positive, right? Glass is half full for Tammy over there. I get it. Well, unfortunately, we are going to continue to stay warm. There is some weekend change, a little cooler air on the way, and we'll time out the rain that comes with it as well. Today's high 85, oh so close. I'll show you how close to that record.
Is your personal information being used to help someone else illegally register to vote? It's happened to one Buncombe County woman who got a card in the mail and started asking questions.
It's just frustrating, I suppose. You would think in this time, with technology as good as it is, that there would be some kind of, I don't know, way to see if someone is voting multiple times.
Tonight at 6, News 13 investigates the process to register to vote, the safeguards in place, and what you should do if you think someone is using your information to register illegally.
This weekend, Brazil will hold its first round of voting to pick a new president. The race itself is full of controversy and headlines, with one candidate having served jail time, another spent time in the hospital after being stabbed. But a surprising element may prove a major factor in this election: voters receiving inaccurate information. That's sparking concern for the election, and we will have that story Sunday on Full Measure with Cheryl Atkinson.
Well, it might be something out of science fiction, but robots in California are taking part in the growing process. The indoor facility, Iron Ox, houses robots that are working on tending and harvesting plants for food. A robotic arm is outfitted with cameras that allow it to see in 3D and gently work around those tender leaves and stems of young plants. This new innovation could help solve a growing farm labor crisis.
Our goal is to use technology like robotics and machine learning to be able to grow produce at better quality, more consistently, and cheaper.
Well, the company is first focusing on salad greens and selling to restaurants first. Iron Ox says its system uses 90% less water over traditional farming while growing 30 times the amount of crops per acre of land.
Now, your News 13 Skywatch weather.
Yeah, we didn't get to the record, folks, but we came very close today. Officially 85 degrees, the high at the Asheville Regional Airport, and the record still stands of 86 degrees set back in 1986. Keep in mind the average high is 71 degrees for this date. So there you go. And how about some more perspective for you? We sit right now in second place for the average warmest temperature to date at this point, 61.4 degrees. In fact, that's actually in first place, I should say. This is data that has completed the years. We're now with 89 days left in the year. So we're in second place because we haven't factored in the last 89 days, of course, but very close to the record warmest year on average. And look at this. Most recent years have been some of the warmest years in Asheville. All right, not much change, folks. Unfortunately, it's just going to remain well above average temperatures for the next 6 to 10 day period here. Oh boy, this is just going to slowly change, so there's not an abrupt end to it at this point. A gradual turn towards some cooler weather will happen into the second or third week of the month. All right, HD radar satellite picking up on a few showers out there. High elevations right over the Balsams. We've seen some showers, and also over the Pisgah Ridge in Transylvania County. Big picture though, we got a strong ridge, which means unusually warm and humid weather, folks. That colder air staying north behind this cold front, and the wettest weather is well to the west of us into the upper Midwest. But this high just continues to pump in that warm weather. So if you're thinking about going to the corn mazes maybe tomorrow, it's going to be warm. Prepare to sweat and wear the sunscreen. 64 degrees in the morning, 79 by noon, 85 again tomorrow, with a bit more in the way of some afternoon clouds and a stray shower possible, but most of us will stay dry. Now, how about tomorrow? About this time tomorrow, we'll be thinking about Friday football frenzy. High school football games are going to be warm at pregame, 80s at the first quarter, kickoff 70s, upper 70s, and will cool down to the low 70s by the end of those games tomorrow across western North Carolina. So yeah, stay hydrated, players out there. All right, Futurecast, here we are watching cloud-free conditions mostly tonight. A little bit of fog in the valleys. That's pretty typical, at least lately it's been typical. And then we pop off those isolated showers tomorrow, mostly in the high elevations between about 3 and 6 p.m. And everything fades tomorrow night. And then Saturday, we got a slightly better chance of some showers, so you'll see a little more coverage here, but not a washout by any means. But there could be some locally heavy rain, especially just west and just east of Asheville. Our forecast lows tonight in the 60s. Wow, above average again, folks. Mid-upper 60s will do it again, and that could be near record territory for some folks south. 85 tomorrow won't be a record. The record's even warmer than that. 80s in the foothills, even 90s possible down towards Clemson, and Greer will come close in the upstate to 90 degrees. 80s again on Saturday, but we do finally cool out to the 70s and cool down to the 70s on Sunday and stay there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and our rain chances are a little better by the end of that 7-day forecast into the middle of next week.
Okay, thanks, Jason. The Asheville Food Truck and Craft Beer Festival is back at the Asheville outlets this Saturday.
On News 13 this morning, we got a look at some of the food that you'll be able to find at this year's event. 20 food truck vendors and 15 breweries will be part of the festival. And you can find homemade comfort food like chicken and seafood, even authentic Jamaican cuisine. Many of the vendors specialize in creative dishes that are full of flavor.
What we look to bring this weekend is a shrimp and chicken fried rice, also our beloved crab claws, either sauteed or fried. We're also doing fried fish baskets, fried shrimp baskets, so really just centering around seafood and chicken this weekend.
Well, the festival kicks off at noon and then runs through 5 p.m. on Saturday at the Asheville outlets. There's also a special VIP hour beforehand. We've posted the link to get the tickets on WLOS.com underneath this story.
I was a little irritated because I didn't have any idea how much more I'd have to pay for the features that I wanted.
Going car shopping, your budget may be up for a big surprise. Why you may have to pay more than you thought to get what you want.
If you go into a dealership with a set price in mind for a new car, you may be in for a surprise.
News 13's Jennifer Emmer joining us now with more. Jennifer?
Chances are the cost of the car you thought you could afford is probably a lot more. Consumer Reports calls it trim level sticker shock and has some advice.
Meet Kevin Doyle, executive editor of Consumer Reports. He needed a new car.
I was looking for leather seats for ease of cleaning. I was looking for advanced safety features. I was looking for a decent sound system and all-wheel drive.
He wasn't sure where to start looking. But like I said, he works at Consumer Reports, so he didn't have far to go to find a car expert.
I told him that depending on the features he wants, he should expect to pay more than the base price for his car.
Features included in trim levels make up different versions of the same model car. Over the past 15 years, trim levels have doubled on some models, and that means more money out of your pocket. Take the Ford F-150. Base price about $28,000. At the highest trim level, Kevin was looking at over $61,000. Or the Subaru Forester for about $23,000. Depending on the trim level, he could pay between $26,000 and $36,000. To confuse matters, Kevin could only get specific features on certain trim levels. That's because with so many features available, manufacturers have to narrow down the choices.
I was going to have to buy something I didn't want to get something that I did.
Like fog lights or bigger wheels.
I told Kevin that he should first focus on the must-have safety features. even if he has to pay extra rather than trim levels.
So that's what he did. But he didn't want navigation. Could he pay less?
That's not an option.
In the end, Kevin decided on a used car, but instead of a used Subaru Forester, he went with a BMW for only $4,000 more, giving him all the features he wanted.
I love my new car.
Now, Consumer Reports says don't be afraid to negotiate. For more information, go to WLOS.com and click on Consumer Reports under the News tab.
It could be the life and death for us or for the people we're trying to protect.
Buncombe County deputies wrap up a week of training. Coming up on News 13 at 6, how yesterday's shooting in South Carolina is affecting law enforcement right here in the mountains.